First of all, the evolution points. The basic evolution points given by the legendary boss are 1200 points, which is twice that of the epic level. Xinfeng changed to the Witch Apostle Pendant with 7 skill levels, and the probability of the extra reward of the Hand of Greed is 980%. Xinfeng was lucky enough to get 19 extra rewards in total after 2 Hands of Greed. That is 800 evolution points. In addition, there are 22 mythical loot and 87 legendary loot. The harvest from beating a legendary boss is comparable to all the harvests I gained in 9 years of brushing in my previous life. Xinfeng was a little jealous. This is too abnormal. These equipment and skill books can be used at levels 28-30. Just the equipment alone can create an invincible player army if it is taken out. Of course, some of the equipment attributes are not good, and even if some of the attributes are still good, Xinfeng is too lazy to keep them. At that time, I will just throw it to the goblins at home and crush it into equipment points. As for the skill books, I can only keep them. Unfortunately, there is no divine weapon here. Xinfeng knew that when the divine weapon exploded, there was a probability of upgrading to divine weapon, and the probability was about 0%. So in the last life, he was able to obtain that divine weapon, which was indeed a bit of luck. Otherwise, he would not be able to enter the top 100 in the world. 22 pieces of mythical loot, including 15 pieces of equipment, one of which was assassin equipment. 7 skill books, none of which were assassin skill books. As for the legendary loot, there were several pieces of assassin equipment, but Xinfeng glanced at it and found that there was no equipment that could be used. But there were 3 skill books, all of which were learned by Xinfeng. Save the legendary equipment first, and then synthesize the mythical assassin equipment, learn all the skill books, and then swallow them for the Soul Devourer bloodline. Of the 3 skill books, one is a passive skill that adds hit correction, which Xinfeng really doesn't need, so it's better to convert it into an attribute for the Soul Devourer. One is a defensive skill, which doubles the number of layers of the damage-free shield on the body after it is activated. Xinfeng didn't plan to keep this skill either, because in the later stage, it is obvious that the damage-free shield is not very effective. Just like the Deathwing Angel just now, one knife can break through several layers of damage-free shields, or even more than 10 layers. Even if you encounter an order like Xinfeng's Shield Disintegration type, the damage-free shield will be shattered at the touch. The last skill book is an acceleration skill, which can increase the movement speed by 60% after it is activated. But this acceleration skill makes it easy for people to have a slower reaction speed. It's better to swallow it and convert it into an agility effect that can also speed up Xinfeng's reaction speed, skill release speed, and attack speed. So, all 3 skills were evolved into mythical level by Xinfeng at the cost of 100 evolution points, and then swallowed souls. The first skill with hit correction increased the physical attack power converted from each point of strength by 3 points. The second defensive skill increased the health value converted from each point of physique by 20 points, and the physical defense by 2 points. The last acceleration skill provided Xinfeng with a 15% agility effect increase. Then, Xinfeng checked the assassin's mythical equipment. It was a pair of pants, and it was made of smoke. Death Smokescreen Mythic. Assassin Armor Legs. Physical Defense, plus 777. All Element Resistance, plus 777. Damage Resistance, plus 79. Damage Reduction, plus 32, 7%. Solid Defense, plus 17%. Equipment Requirement. Level 30. Special. Corruption, upper level, 66. Unique Special Effect. Smokescreen. Passively gain 90% dodge rate. Undodged damage is reduced by an additional 50%. Ana. Unique special effect. Death distance. Gain 28% damage limit. Based on your current health limit, 40980, the maximum single damage you receive does not exceed 40594. 4. When Xinfeng put on this leggings, his physical defense, elemental resistance, damage resistance, and damage reduction are comprehensively improved, although he lost 19. 8 of whisper resistance. It has little impact. After all, Xinfeng can now freely adjust the upper resistance. And in terms of resistance, he permanently stacks Nightmare resistance, so he doesn't need this. 8. In contrast, Xinfeng gained 66 points of corruption affixes. The total value of Xinfeng's upper affixes reached 264 points. The conversion into instant death affixes finally exceeded 50 points. It's worthy of being a mythical equipment. It's starting to show advanced attributes in the later stages. Whether it's solid defense or injury limit, it is a defensive attribute in the later stage. The injury limit makes it impossible for Xinfeng to be killed instantly, no matter how high the opponent's damage is. It cannot exceed 28% of Xinfeng's maximum health. And the 17% solid defense effect makes Xinfeng have 17% of physical defense and elemental resistance that cannot be penetrated. Even if the target has 100% armor penetration or element penetration, Xinfeng also has 17% of defense that is effective. According to his current attributes, even if the opponent has 100% armor penetration, Xinfeng will eventually have more than 80% physical damage reduction and elemental resistance, because his physical defense and elemental resistance are too high. If the opponent does not penetrate, Xinfeng's physical damage reduction and elemental resistance have reached about 95%. The equivalent exchange pants have been replaced, but there is no need to transfer this special effect when you need to change equipment. Just put on the leather pants and change it. After putting on the death smokescreen, Qianfeng's legs were shrouded in the dark smoke, like a dark cold flame, embellishing him like the god of death walking out of hell. And the spoils that the Deathwing Angel brought to Qinfeng are more than that. Qianfeng also held 2 sublimation scrolls in his hand. These 2 sublimation scrolls can add 2 order effects to the equipment respectively. It is worthy of being the ancient greedy hand. This is too much to gain. Qianfeng sighed. If this is a normal explosion rate, it basically takes 5 legendary bosses to explode a sublimation scroll. But now, he got 2 from a boss. Obviously, this is still a case of bad luck. Not bad. Among these 2 sublimation scrolls, one scroll has a good effect. Ring sublimation scroll legendary. Life forbidden. Add the order Life Forbidden to the ring. Enemies attacked by you will not be able to recover health by any means, lasting 60 seconds. This order can be said to be a nanny killer, especially when used against some NPC. The effect is more significant, just suitable for Qinfeng to use, once affected by this order. It is impossible to remove this effect by conventional means, unless the corresponding order ability is used, or the divinity of the divine weapon is forcibly offset. There is also a scroll with a more general effect. Clothes Sublimation Scroll Legendary. Despicable Terminator. Add the order Despicable Terminator to clothes if the attack comes from behind. The attack is invalid. This order of Despicable Terminator can be said to be very disgusting. If someone else has the effect of this order, all Qinfeng's attacks will not be able to hurt the opponent, unless the divinity of the divine weapon is used to offset its effect. Otherwise, it is impossible to kill the target. So, in the era when many top powerhouses obtain order, it is actually difficult to distinguish the winners and losers between some powerhouses. If we really want to rank the combat power, it is difficult to come up with an authoritative ranking, because each powerhouse has a different order. A can't beat B, B can't beat C, but C can't beat A. This situation often occurs until the birth of divine weapons. For players who are still playing order, having divine weapons is a dimensionality reduction strike. However, if you really want to forcibly suppress the order and kill the opponent, the divinity that needs to be consumed is still too much. Fortunately, I already have divine weapons in this life. I'm not afraid of other people having any tricky orders. Qianfeng thought about it. Use the Life Forbidden scroll on the 3-phase ring. The scroll of Despicable Terminator was used on Roslav's contract. If there was a Despicable Terminator just now, I could have just turned my back to the Deathwing Angel when facing his attack. Qianfeng smiled. At this point, the first kill trophy of the legendary boss was finally counted. Then he opened his skill interface. The evolution points obtained in the Temple of Death, and the more than 20 Aladdin given by the Deathwing Angel just now add up to a total of 110,000 evolution points. You have consumed 50,000 evolution points, and there are 63.08 points left. Madam. Blessing of Liberation Ancient, Immortal. Passive effect. Weakness attack correction, 66%, 99.99%. Weak attack multiplier double, level 16. Active use. Make your next attack cause a throat cut effect, causing 500% of the attack damage per second, lasting 3 seconds. Ancient level effect. You gain 100% armor penetration and 100% elemental resistance ignored. Immortal level new effect. Throat cutting is converted from an active skill to a passive effect. Every time you attack, you will cause the throat cutting effect, causing 500% of the attack damage, which lasts for 3 seconds. The evolution of the Gift of Liberation directly increased Qinfeng's weak point attack correction from 666% to 999%. The most important thing is, the throat cutting effect has changed from active to passive. I'm super invincible. The effect of throat cutting is equivalent to increasing the damage of a skill by 15 times. Originally, Qianfeng could only use throat cutting once every 3 seconds. And now, every time the damage is done, the throat cutting will cause the same effect. What is abnormal? This is called a perverted strength leap. Now Qinfeng spends the same time to play a set of skills, and the damage settled in the end will be more than doubled than before. Even Shadow Blade can be used to attack boss. The passive throat slashing effect is equivalent to giving Qinfeng 15 times more damage to each skill, and no longer once every 3 seconds. Then it is to evolve Shadowfold. Whether it was last time in the Temple of Death or this time against the Deathwing Angel, this skill is the key among the keys. Qianfeng is looking forward to what effect will the evolution of this skill have. You have consumed 50 zeros in evolution points, and there are 13.08 points left. Shadowfold Ancient, Immortal. Escape into the shadows and flash to any position within 150-300 meters. During the folding process, you will be invincible and will not be affected by the upper affixes. Cooldown 10, 62 seconds. Legendary effect. After flashing, the basic attack power increases by 100%, lasting 5-10 seconds. Mythic effect. After flashing, physical defense and elemental resistance are increased by 100%, lasting 8-16 seconds. Ancient effect. After flashing, the upper affix is increased by 100%, lasting 3-6 seconds. Immortal new effect. You gain 88 Shadow Warp charges. 88 charges. Qinfeng took a look and squinted his eyes. This means he can use the skill continuously without any interval. This effect is not as abnormal as Blessing of Liberation. However, at certain specific time, this skill will be very useful. It can be said that it is basically not affected by the cooldown time. If Qinfeng really uses Shadow Warp 88 times in a row, what opponent can't be killed? Even if he really doesn't kill the target is completely beyond Qinfeng's ability to deal with. And no matter how many Shadow Warp he uses, it will be useless. There are still 13 dozen evolutions left. Points. Evolve the Abyss Silence Curse, and you can go back to picking vases. It only takes more than 3 dozen evolution points to evolve the Abyss skill, so Qinfeng found the passive training skills of the 4 attributes in the skill list and evolved them all. Agility, Strength, Spirit, and Constitution attributes. Each cost 500 evolution points, evolving from Legendary to Mythical, which improved Qinfeng's 4 attributes a lot for these 4 skills. The new effects of the Mythical level are exactly the same as those of the Legendary level. For example, Agility Training. The Legendary effect is, your total agility attribute value increases by 10%. The Mythical effect is also, your total agility attribute value increases by 12%. But Qinfeng calculated it. The 2 effects are multiplied. That is to say, when the 2 attributes are added together, Qinfeng's agility attribute is not increased by 122% of the base, but increased to 123%, 110%, 12%, although it seems that the difference is small. But if the subsequent evolutionary effects are still like this, the gap will be quite large. Qinfeng was quite satisfied with this effect. Just at this time, Qinfeng received a message from Wanyi Weiyu saying that the Chengju Kingdom finally made up its mind and paid 25,000 years of life to invite Qinfeng to deal with the magic mirror. Okay, I'll go after I finish my work here, Qinfeng replied. Starting from the dark area, the 6 black wings representing death behind him spread out. Shamia, let's see who is faster. After Qinfeng said to the snake girl, he flapped his wings behind him and flew out in an instant. At this time, Shamia looked at Qinfeng with a completely different look. She knew that Qinfeng could easily kill an epic boss like her, but the one who was just killed was a legendary boss, and now, why is it so fast? Shamia tried her best to catch up. Her face full of shock, Qinfeng felt Shamia's gaze and said with a smile, "Don't worship me, I'm just a legend." Shamia was autistic and didn't speak. Her long lavender tail swam in this weightless area. Together with Qinfeng, she quickly swam to the place where the old man Geanke was. But it can be seen that her attitude towards Qinfeng is changing more and more. This human assassin, too fierce. Very soon, Qinfeng rode a Shamia and met the old man Geanke, who sold masks. The old man threw 3 masks directly at Qinfeng. At this time, the Great Chicken had been released by Qinfeng and saw the situation with a shocked face. "Old man, I thought you would regret it, but you are so honest." Geanke looked at the little phoenix with contempt. "What do you know? A little chicken. Am I such a dishonest person?" Hearing this, Shamia said faintly, "You are not trustworthy. You are just a coward." The old man was embarrassed. "We are all exiled to this Blue Star civilization. Can't we give each other some face? As the saying goes, we are all wanderers in the world. Whether it is the snag girl Shamia or the old man Geanke. Although they have different identities, one is a boss turned mount, and the other is an NPC selling masks, but in the end, they are the same. They were all sent to the Blue Star civilization from other worlds. Of course, the original Geanke should be a player from the civilized world, but Shamia should not be. She should be a monster from the wild world, no matter what the identity is. Once you reach a certain level, there is actually not much difference." At this moment, Shamia was shocked by Qinfeng's strength, who could kill the legendary boss again and again, completely kill it, and obtain the bloodline of the flying Deathwing Angel. This means that the master she follows is definitely the top of the Blue Star civilization. It is even possible that he is the top existence in one civilization after another, and Shamia can have such cognition. Geanke will naturally have it too. He is even more cunning than Shamia. Isn't it just a mask worth more than 100,000 years of life? So what if I give it to this player? Judging from the current strength and potential of this Blue Star player, his future is limitless. Both Shamia and Geanke saw the hope of escaping from the world of Blue Star from Qinfeng. Suddenly, the Great Chicken and the old man quarreled again. The little phoenix put its wings on its waist and soon became brothers with the old man. Qinfeng took a look at the attributes of the 3 masks in his hand. The masks are all soulbound, so they can't be given to others. Fortunately, this mythical mask and 2 legendary masks have similar basic attributes, but different special effects below, so they can be worn alternately. Of course, Qinfeng tried to see if he could wear them together, but the facts proved that he couldn't. Although all masks can be put on the face, only the attributes of the innermost one are effective. Soul-binding item legendary. Cannot be traded. Cannot be dropped. Facial accessories. Yaramde. Passive. After you kill an innocent player, the growth of the killing value is reduced by 70%. Passive. You automatically eliminate 15% of the killing value every hour. Damn. Active. After turning it on, you will get the life-demanding state, which lasts for 3 minutes. During the duration, killing the target will cause the target to explode all tradable lifespans, and the cooldown is 1 hour. Bad. This effect is similar to the flower curse. However, there is an advantage. That is, it does not require a corpse. As long as the target is killed, it can be achieved, and it is more convenient. There is also a legendary mask called Life Buying Money. The passive effect is exactly the same as the Life Demanding mask, and the active effect is to turn on the Life Buying Money state. After turning it on, the first target killed will not be able to be resurrected unless enough lifespans are paid. This mask is only effective in the game. After killing the target will be in a corpse state, unable to be resurrected but can contact relatives and friends. Qinfeng can set a life quota, and the other party pays the lifespan to the corpse and can only be resurrected after completion. As for the paid lifespan, of course, they will go into Qinfeng's hands. If it's an important person, I can turn on this state to kill him and let him earn lifespan for me. Unfortunately, there is an upper limit to the lifespan quota. The higher my level and the higher the target level, the higher the upper limit of the lifespan quota that can be set. Qinfeng smiled. Finally, he looked at the mythical mask in his hand. Executioner mythical, soulbound item, not tradable, not droppable. Facial accessories. Passive. After you kill an innocent player, the growth of the killing value is reduced by 80%. Passive. You automatically eliminate 20% of the killing value every hour. Active. After turning it on, you will get the executioner state, which lasts for 3 minutes during the duration. If you kill the target will be equivalent to being killed by the killing executioner and enter the prison. Cooling down for 1 hour? You can wear the executioner mask at ordinary times because its passive effect value is the highest. With this mask, it is basically impossible to reach the 5th level of the killer, of course. Qinfeng is no longer afraid of the killing executioner. The key is its active effect. Doesn't this make me a temporary killing executioner? Qinfeng checked the notes, found that his is different from the killing executioner. The killing executioner will only focus on players in the 5th level of the killer. And with this mask, anyone killed can be sent to prison. In the prison, although the player can log in and out, he cannot use any skills after logging off. If Qinfeng activates the executioner and kills, if there is no kill value, in the prison you can get out after 1 month of hiding. If there is a killing value, the sentence will be increased accordingly. In short, the effects of the 3 masks are all good. It should be effective at certain times. After getting the mask, Qinfeng's goal of this trip was successfully achieved. The second bloodline was obtained, and 3 masks were obtained for free, a huge profit. It's time to go to Tianzhu Kingdom to make trouble. This time, Qinfeng didn't need to ask the old man Ge Anke to help him return to the city for free. He took out the teleportation stone and teleported directly back to the Evil Spirit Academy. Don't forget to promote me. The old man, before leaving, only the nervous voice of the old man Ge Anke was heard. Qinfeng smiled lightly and casually sent a message to Wanye Weiyu, telling her about the abyss of wrongful death and the mask. After that, he reminded her again, if you want to go, prepare more lifespan, and the flying speed must be fast. Wanye Weiyu was very solemn. Okay, I understand. Tianzhu Kingdom. The ruins of the capital Delhi. The teleportation array of the city ruins is located in a temple. Qinfeng just teleported here in stealth mode and smelled a very abstract smell. I haven't been to Tianzhu in my last life. It's only been more than a month, and even the game is full of the smell of aioli. Qinfeng soon understood. This is the characteristic of Tianzhu. He walked out of the temple where the teleportation array was located and saw someone stirring a big pot on the side of the road. And the pot was full of yellow food. When you come here, you can hear the quarrels of the Indians everywhere. With the advent of the God-forsaken game, some people of lower castes in Tianzhu may also gain strong strength and talent, leading to increasingly fierce class conflicts. If it weren't for the control of religion, Tianzhu would have been in chaos long ago. But even so, the conflicts between players here are much more frequent than those in Daxia. At this time, Qinfeng had already obtained the 25 zillion-year lifespan from the official, so he came to Tianzhu to help them solve the magic mirror. And this matter has already reached the ears of many people in the ruins of Delhi. 25,000 years. Lifespan. Tradable. Give it to the people of Daxia. Why? Are you crazy? It is said that he ordered Shadow to help us solve the magic mirror outside the city. Even our great Tianzhu can't solve it. How can the people of Daxia solve it? That's right. The people of Daxia are very poor. The tourists who came here before only knew how to take pictures, but couldn't afford our snacks. They are too poor and too pitiful. Qinfeng was a little speechless after hearing this. Not buying your snacks. Do you still think Daxia is too poor? Your snacks are like a pot of aioli. No one wants to eat them even if they are given to us. Qinfeng continued to walk out. He also heard someone talking about not having 25,000 years, but giving them 250 years of life so they can solve the magic mirror or something. Qinfeng could only say, really stupid. Now Osiris has not resurrected yet, so Qinfeng could only reluctantly unfold the 6 wings of death. More than 3 meters long black wings unfolded from behind Qinfeng. Although no one could see them in the invisible state, the players of Tianzhu country not far away still felt a chill at this moment. When Qinfeng flew to the sky of the ruins of Delhi, he cancelled the invisible state. Tell the people of Tianzhu country that I'm here. Don't default on my debt when the time comes. Qinfeng privately chatted with Wanye Weiyu. Just at the moment when he cancelled his invisibility, the thousands of Tianzhu players in the ruins below were all attracted by his figure, and they screamed in shock. What is that? Is it a monster? Let me take a look with the telescope. Oh my god. That's Shadow. Shadow has come from Daxia. Mom, I want his skin. Wings. He actually has wings. Incredible. Is he the messenger of death? He looks too powerful. No matter how powerful he is, he was called by our great Tianzhu to deal with the magic mirror. How could our Tianzhu magic mirror be destroyed by Daxia people? Watch out. Wait for this shadow to be killed by the shadow of the magic mirror? That's right. Our magic mirror is not something that a Daxia person can destroy. A wave of screams rang out in the ruins of Delhi, whether they admit it or not. Heinfeng now completely crushes all the players in Tianzhu. The eerie black wings behind him were more than 3 meters long, and his lower body was covered with black smoke, as if he was walking in the land of death. As his wings moved, he turned into a black stream of light and flew towards the northern part of the ruins of Delhi. Although I can fly now, it's better to fly with a Sirio. After all, it's a bit tiring to fly by myself, Xinfeng couldn't help thinking. Flying consumes double the physical strength, which will not be displayed in the numerical value. If converted to reality, it is equivalent to physical fitness. Running also consumes physical strength. The player's movement speed is a range. If you maintain the fastest running speed, you will also consume physical strength. As for how long you can last, it depends on the physique attribute. And Qinfeng's flight consumes twice as much physical strength as running at the fastest speed. That will naturally feel tired. However, fortunately, Qinfeng is very fast. Now his speed has reached 759, 6 meters per second. It has exceeded twice the speed of sound. In the sky, it was like a black meteor passing by, leaving a faint trail of black smoke, causing all the Tianzhu players along the way to scream in surprise. Soon, Qinfeng had to admire the courage of the Tianzhu players. Just before approaching the valley where the magic mirror was, Qinfeng saw that more than 20 Tianzhu players were riding a desert lizard mount together and heading towards the location of the magic mirror. Genius. More than 20 people riding a lizard? Qinfeng couldn't help but sigh. And this group of people were still chatting. Wow. Wow. It's great. Hurry up. Hurry up. Wait until we become heroes tonight, and reward you together. A curly-haired young player sitting on the lizard's head said while patting the lizard's head. The magic mirror is just ahead. Let's become Delhi heroes tonight. Chalupa. Are you ready? As long as we destroy the magic mirror, we can prove that we don't need the shadow of Daxia. That's right. It's better to give us the 25,000 years of life. Hey, then my sister can get married. The man used to want a car as a dowry before he was willing to marry my sister. Now it's changed to 50 years of life. I knew I would marry a wife later. She brought a car as a dowry, but now it has become a pile of scrap metal. I really envy Chalupa. He married 3 wives. When we destroy the magic mirror and become Delhi heroes, you can marry 10 wives. Qinfeng flew through the sky. I don't know if it was an illusion. He saw a painful expression on the face of the desert lizard, ridden by more than 20 people. Sure enough, it's not the magic of Tianzhu movie, but the reality of Tianzhu is more magical in the past. Qinfeng occasionally watched Indian movies. Although there were indeed some fine work, they were generally very magical. Now I find that this art is completely derived from reality. Unfortunately, reality is not a movie. If these people really want to deal with the magic mirror, they are simply looking for death. After seeing that this group of people are about to arrive, Qinfeng is not in a hurry. He decided to observe secretly to see if there is anything special about the magic mirror. Although I have heard of the mirror spirit boss of this magic mirror in my previous life, but after all, I have never seen it with my own eyes. Maybe some details will be missed. Observe first. Make plans and then act. There is no harm. Anyway, it won't take much time. So Qinfeng released Integrate into the darkness. The wings behind him folded, and lightly landed on a small mountain next to him, looking down at everything inside and outside the valley in front of him. At the entrance to the valley where the Kesha magic mirror is located, there are many Indian officials guarding. In order to prevent players from entering by mistake, they stopped everyone. The 2 leaders, one is an old man with a white gauze wrapped around his head, the Confessor Bazaar. Next to him is an official man of Tianzhu dressed like a priest, named Chandul. Qinfeng took a closer look at this Chandul. It's not that he has any interest or impression of this person, but this person's profession is a hidden profession life sacrifice, just like Qin Xiaoyu. But he can reach the pinnacle of his life and become the official head of Tianzhu with this, and the previous North American diplomat Theodore is the same. It can be seen that it is not the profession of life sacrifice that has problems. It is purely a human problem. At this time, the more than 20 people riding lizards came from far and near. Of course, they were stopped by the official personnel behind Bazaar and Chandul. Don't stop us! We have a way to destroy the magic mirror. Kaluba can give us a status that increases the damage to summons by 200%. The shadow of the magic mirror is the summon. We can easily kill those shadows and destroy the magic crystal after we obtain this status. Let us become the heroes of Delhi. Let Daxia know that our Tianzhu country is the best in the world and does not need shadows. Bazaar and Chandra represent the religious and official forces of the ruins of Delhi respectively. The 2 sides are basically cooperating. But there is also competition in some areas. In terms of attitude towards the magic mirror, the 2 sides are naturally consistent, so they discussed it. They unanimously decided to let this group of people go in and try the middle-aged man. The life sacrificer Chandar waved his hand and said, "But don't go in with so many people. It will be too chaotic." The more than 20 people were unhappy immediately. "We are all family. Charuba is my cousin. Charuba is my uncle. Charuba is my second grandfather. To become a hero of Delhi, we will not abandon any family member. And after killing the shadow, we have to destroy the magic mirror. How can we do it without a few people?" So, the official compromised, the old man Master Bazaar, and the official Chandur nodded and let them go. Anyway, they didn't lose anything. Even if these 20-odd people died in there, they would have done it themselves. Damage to summoned creatures tripled. In this way, one person can deal with 3 shadows, but the key is, does the shadow belong to a summoned creature? This is questionable. If so, Master Tutyar shouldn't have killed this boss at such a late stage in the previous life, because the attribute of increasing damage to summoned creatures is still quite common. Haifeng even just got a piece of mythical equipment of a mage, one of the attributes of which is to increase damage to summoned creatures by 727%. If it works, Xinfeng can change 2 specific equipment, because what Qinfeng has to face, it's not just the shadows copied by the magic mirror outside. After entering the mirror, when facing the legendary boss mirror spirit, he will face more shadows. If the increased damage to summoned creatures is useful for these shadows, Qinfeng will be able to deal with the boss body more easily. So Qinfeng continued to observe. The 20-odd people rode on lizards and entered the valley where the magic mirror was. The valley was overgrown with weeds, but there were no tall trees. Looking down from above, all the scenes were clear at a glance. Master Basil, Chandar, and others at the entrance of the valley were also observing the 20-odd people. When they entered, Qinfeng saw that in the spherical magic mirror in the middle of the valley, more than 60 human shadows flashed in the mirror. Those human shadows had just formed, and they jumped out one by one. It looked like a complete reflection of the 20-odd people. The appearance was exactly the same as the 20-odd people. The only difference was that they were covered with a layer of dark color, which looked very dark. After the 60-odd shadows appeared, they rushed directly towards the 20-odd people. "Get ready." Kaluba, a short-haired, short young man in the crowd, raised his hand and released a white light, covering everyone around him. They all gained a buff that increased the damage to summoned creatures by 200%. Although there were 3 Chalupa shadows among the more than 60 shadows that broke out of the magic mirror, and they could also release this skill. The key point is those more than 20 players are definitely not considered summoned creatures. So, we have to say that these Indians are still a bit capable. At least they will find a way. But unfortunately, an accident happened soon, because when more than 20 players came into contact with more than 60 shadows and started fighting, the Indians were quickly shocked. "Oh fuck, why is my damage not changing?" "Me too. My group attack skill only deals a few thousand damage. It's not even 10. Alvin, if my 3 consecutive body-breaking arrows double the damage, it will definitely kill Chalupa's shadow in seconds. But why is the damage not changing? Are these shadows not considered summoned creatures? Impossible. This is unscientific. God Hanuman, save me." For a while, the scene was in chaos. Without the amplification effect of special attacks against summon, the Shadow Army with 3 times the number of people just slaughtered the more than 20 people. Then the bodies of the more than 20 people melted into a pool of black liquid, which was absorbed by the Keshem magic mirror in the middle of the valley and merged into it. After a while, the whole valley returned to tranquility. Mindfeng secretly observed all this. Although these people's increased damage to summons did not take effect, he keenly noticed one thing. "Just now, I felt the power of order in the valley. It used the power of order to offset the opponent's summon. Under the effect of this order, these shadows will not be considered as summoned creatures. If that's the case, it means that these shadows do belong to the category of summoned creatures. It's just that the general attribute of increasing the damage of summoned creatures is invalid. But for Qinfeng, he can offset the influence of this order. Just consume the divinity to offset the opponent's order effect. The essence of the opponent's summoned creature will have nowhere to hide. You can exchange 2 pieces of equipment. Hainfeng replaced the useless assassination hood in PvE with another legendary equipment, Minion's Death. This legendary assassin equipment requires level 30. Comes with 555% damage increase to summons, plus a special effect. Double the damage to summons. The double damage is an independent damage increase, and those who understand the effect will understand. In addition, Qinfeng also released the legendary skill Void End from the skills swallowed by the Soul Devourer bloodline. This legendary skill passively increases the damage increase to summons by 400% and reduces the damage to summons by 70%. The reason why Qinfeng wants to stack such high damage is because the inside, the main body of the Keshem magic mirror, also constantly summons shadows to fight and can adapt to the player's damage. The damage caused by the same player to the shadow inside will become lower and lower. So, the higher the damage Qinfeng causes, the better. Finally, before preparing to attack, Qinfeng hesitated for a moment. Should I replace the Contract of Roslav? This equipment is a legendary equipment, which can allow the Inviolable affix to offset all negative effects. And it also comes with the order Despicable Terminator, because it is a legendary equipment. This leather armor will be completely copied by the Keshem magic mirror. This means that my Gift of Liberation effect cannot take effect. It is impossible to apply the continuous damage of Cutthroat to it. But if this shadow copies me, it is not as tough as the boss. It can be killed easily without the effect of Gift of Liberation. As for the Despicable Terminator, this is even more of an artifact against these shadows. If the shadow copies me, the professional passive will be copied. You can inherit my current legendary skill, Back Hit Enhancement, which will treat all damage they incur as back hits when they are invisible. As long as I have the Despicable Terminator order, my shadows will not be able to cause any harm to me at all. So, the appearance of the Despicable Terminator made Qinfeng absolutely invincible when facing the Keshem magic mirror. Despicable Terminator. Make all attacks from behind ineffective. Perfectly restrain Qinfeng's own shadow. Hanfeng himself can consume divinity and offset the opponent's order effect, but his shadow can't copy the divine weapon. Swish. Just when Bazaar, Chandur, and other Tianju officials felt a little sorry for those more than 20 people, Qinfeng's 6 wings of death folded, and the whole person, wrapped in black wings, instantly fell in front of the group of people. The Tianju officials were all shocked. They didn't mourn for the more than 20 Delhi heroes for a moment, and the one who rushed to the battlefield immediately was Shadow. Dear Mr. Shadow. Hello, I am a translator. My name is Baby. A thin young man stood up from the side, immediately put his hands together, and greeted Qinfeng with caution and fear in his eye. He spoke Daxia language very poorly, but it was still understandable. When facing Shadow, the young man stuttered directly. Although in normal times, the players of Tianju Kingdom seemed to be fearless and even boasted of despising Shadow. But when they really saw Qinfeng, even everyone, including Master Bajar and Chandur, all looked solemn. I'm here. Qinfeng glanced at the thin young man translating Babi, tell your people to be ready to pay the balance. After that, he planned to fly into the valley. But the thin young man translating Babi suddenly stuttered and said, Wait, Mr. Shadow. Master Bajar recommends that you attack the magic mirror as quickly as possible. If you get entangled with the shadow, you will die. Qinfeng turned around and glanced at him. Then he looked at Master Bazaar, who was wearing a white turban. Master Bazaar clasped his hands together in a friendly manner and bowed to Qinfeng with a smile. This kind of action of Bazaar is very common in Tianju country. He looks quite friendly. However, when Qinfeng saw this guy, he remembered the reminder given to him by Wanye Wei Yu. This Bazaar's profession is the only hidden profession, the Confessor. It is said that he has hundreds of thousands of killing points now. If I kill him, will half of the killing points be transferred to me? Qinfeng narrowed his eyes. This killing point conversion mechanism is not the normal obtaining killing points mechanism, but the professional characteristics of the opponent in general. In this case, the Lifeless Mask cannot resist it. The Lifeless Mask can only resist the regular mechanism of the godforsaken game, which prevents people from obtaining the killing points granted by the system. If Bajar is killed, half of the killing points will be granted by Bajar, so the Lifeless Mask cannot resist it. However, Qinfeng is not worried about these at all. If the other party refuses to pay or something, just kill him directly, even if it costs hundreds of thousands of killing points. With so many masks on Qinfeng now, it will naturally disappear in a few hours at most. As for the Killing Executioner, the strength of NPCs at this level is basically above the epic boss, not yet at the level of legendary boss. The only thing Qinfeng needs to pay attention to is that the other party may have divine weapons. The ability attached to divine weapons cannot be ignored. After all, this means that Qinfeng's order will be offset by the other party, and Qinfeng has no way to bypass the other party's divine weapons. Of course, the probability of NPCs at this level having divine weapons is not high, so there is no need to be too nervous. Facing Basil's suggestion, Qinfeng sighed. Lao Deng's suggestion is good. Don't suggest it next time. Directly attack the body of the Kishmu magic mirror. What kind of bullshit suggestion is this? If it is really that simple, is it still called a legendary boss? The body of the Kishmu magic mirror is completely invincible. In short, this boss is divided into the outer field and the inner field. The outer field is to open and close the door. You have to kill the shadow outside before you can be sucked into the interior of the Kishmu magic mirror to challenge the boss body. The mirror spirit. Kill the mirror spirit, and the Kishmu magic mirror will naturally break. So, Bazal's suggestion is completely bullshit. If you really listen to him and attack the Kishmu magic mirror directly, you may be attacked by the shadow and suffer a loss. This old guy has bad intentions. Qinfeng sneered secretly. After saying that, he didn't pay any attention to the other group of people. The 6 dead black wings behind him spread out, and the 3-meter-long wings took Qinfeng and flew towards the Kishmu magic mirror in the valley. When Qinfeng entered the valley where the Kishmu magic mirror was, he naturally released Merge into the darkness. When he merged into the darkness, his figure completely disappeared from the eyes of the Tianju players at the entrance of the valley. However, as long as you look at the Keshem magic mirror in the middle, you can still see the outline of a 6-winged figure on the spherical mirror. That is the invisible Qinfeng. The Keshem magic mirror can directly capture any invisible unit and copy it as a shadow. The next moment, then 3 figures with similar equipment to Qinfeng condensed and walked out of the mirror. However, there is a clear difference between them and Qinfeng. Hanfeng has black wings behind him, but they don't. Qinfeng has 2 daggers in his hands, but they only have 1, Xinfeng's lower body is shrouded in dark smoke, and these 3 shadows cannot be copied to the mythical death smoke screen. So they only wear the shorts that come with the system, like beach shorts. This made bizarre. Chandur and other Indian players outside the valley all stare in surprise. What? What's going on? Shadow's shadow is different from him. Oh my god. His shadow is only wearing shorts? Why is this? Is it because he is dual-wielding daggers? We also had someone dual-wielding daggers before, and the reflection was also dual-wielding. Is this magic mirror a pervert? It must be because of his wings. Where did his wings come from? You ask me? I don't know. I don't know either. My cow may know. I'll ask my son to tell me. A group of Indian players were dumbfounded. Originally, they all expected 3 identical shadows to appear and directly besiege Shadow to death, then let Shadow be swallowed by the Nakshim magic mirror. But they didn't expect that the mirror condensed. The 3 shadows that gathered seemed to have some problems. Not only did they only have a dagger in their hands, they were also wearing shorts, which was very outrageous. They all wore dark white lifeless masks, and their lower bodies were wearing shorts. They should have dual-wielded dagger, but they only had a dagger, the Killer Starblade, in their hands, which looked quite funny. In fact, the anti-stealth level of these 3 figures was very low, because Qinfeng's Umbra perception skill was ancient level and was not copied by the other party. Therefore, these 3 shadows could not actually see Qinfeng, but there was no way. The Keshim magic mirror could reflect any living creature, so invisibility was useless. And the 3 figures, as soon as they condensed, locked onto Qinfeng in the invisible state, instant shadow slash, Dark Knight ring blade, various skills whistled towards Qinfeng, and from the mirror of the Keshim magic mirror, it could be seen that Qinfeng's figure had been surrounded by invisible sword light. Yasi, that's it. Kill Shadow. Although he's not wearing pants, he's Shadow's shadow after all, so his abilities must be the same. This is too fast. I didn't even react. How's it going? Is Shadow dead? Although the 3 shadows didn't copy all of Qinfeng's abilities, their speed was much faster than that of an average person. As soon as they made their move, the Qianzhou players on the field were shocked. Fast. Too fast. That speed is worthy of being the best in the world. But what surprised them soon was, under the siege of the 3 shadows, Shadow's figure with black wings spread out was not affected at all, and even the shield was not hit. All the attacks of the shadows on Qinfeng were ineffective. The Order of the Despicable Terminator is really awesome. Qinfeng's mouth curled up slightly. All attacks from behind will be invalidated. This rule is a sure kill for an assassin like him, if there is no divine weapon. The only way to deal with it is to abandon invisibility. However, once invisibility is gone, his damage will be more than 10 times lower than before, and Qinfeng did not waste time. When the 3 shadows launched the attack, Qinfeng had already released the Shadow of Sorrow. With Qinfeng's current agility, he can release nearly 6 shadow blades per second. With 5 shadows, he can release nearly 40 shadow blades per second. To deal with these shadows, Qinfeng is completely bullying people. They don't have the source of the upper level, and they don't have the blessing of the Thunder Fairy. If not bullying them, who can he bully? All upper level affixes are converted into instant death. In less than a second, Qinfeng and the Shadow of Sorrow released shadow blades respectively, and 30 or 40 shadow blades penetrated the bodies of the 3 shadows, causing them to shatter instantly. Baisal, Chandur, and the translator, Baby all stared with their eyes wide open, looking incredible. They couldn't imagine it at all. Under normal circumstances, 3 shadows can chase a player and kill him. But now, in less than a second, the 3 shadows were instantly killed by the shadows. If the attack ability of the shadows far exceeds the defense ability, then it's fine. But, just now, the 3 shadows' attack on the shadow body was completely ineffective. Is the brain of this magic mirror broken? Some skills don't know how to use. Yes, look, the shadow can release the shadow clone. Then Lutuo. Why doesn't the shadow release it? It must be letting it go. This magic mirror is too despicable. I have a bold idea. This magic mirror is not made in Daxia. Asshole. Impossible. Then how do you explain that the magic mirror lets it go when facing the shadow? The players of Qianzhou have already doubted their lives. For Qinfeng, killing these 3 shadows is as easy as eating and drinking. They habitually hide to deal with Qinfeng, only to find that their attacks are ineffective against Qinfeng. It is too late to change their thinking and cancel their stealth. These 3 shadows cannot copy the skill of Source of Superior. Their superior resistance is very low. If it were Qinfeng himself, because of the skill of Blessing of Thunder Fairy, he could reduce the accumulation speed of the superior affix scale by 75%. But these shadows did not even copy the Blessing of Thunder Fairy. Their instant death resistance is only a few dozen points higher than that of ordinary people. And Qinfeng, any shadow blade exceeds 50 points of the instant death scale. As long as 3 shadow blades hit, a shadow can be killed. Then what ability do they have to resist? If they were not so fast, they would not even last 5 seconds. Just when Qinfeng killed the 3 shadows, the players of Tianzhou country opened their eyes wide. Suddenly, they saw the figure of the shadow on the mirror surface began to blur, and then it was absorbed into the spherical Kesha mirror like liquid. Oh, God! I understand. This magic mirror is intentional. It still sucked the shadow in. It's incredible. Even if you kill your own shadow, you will be absorbed by the magic mirror. Holy magic mirror. It's so powerful. Everyone kneel down. thank the magic mirror for taking the shadow? They didn't know that Qin Feng had entered the second stage of the boss battle and entered the inner field of the mirror. It was completely different from the players who were killed and swallowed by the shadow. But the players of Tianju country, watching Qin Feng being sucked in, looked the same as the players who were killed by the shadow. Subconsciously thought that Qin Feng was also dead. After all, the players who were absorbed by the magic crystal never came out alive. The players who were absorbed were always in the game in reality. And then they starved to death in a few days. This is the end of Shadow. The players of Tianju country were terrified. Although they felt that something seemed to be wrong, they still felt that Shadow should be dead. Don't be happy too early. We have to observe it again. Master Basil frowned and looked at the field. But all the other players of Tianju country around were already celebrating. Opening champagne at halftime is right. Of course. They didn't know that the boss battle was only halfway through. Just seeing the terrifying power of Shadow, they subconsciously felt fearful. And the next second, this terrifying Daxia man was sucked in by the storm by the magic mirror. How could they not be excited? For a while, the news that Shadow was killed by the magic mirror spread among the players in the ruins of Delhi, India. Although there are wise people like Bazaar in the field, but bad apples can spoil the whole pot of porridge. Not to mention that many people in the field think that Qin Feng is dead. Of course, these people can't be proud for long. Because for Qin Feng, it won't take much time to kill the mirror spirit of the Kashum magic mirror. In a white mist, Qin Feng came to a vast world, and looking around, a white mist covered the earth. In front of him, there was a spherical mirror suspended in the air, and his figure was reflected in the mirror. And above the mirror, there was a slender human figure. The human figure had extremely long arms, surrounded by white mist, and his face was similar to that of a human from Blue Star. Almost, except that the eyes were completely filled with white, without eyeballs, and looked extremely weird. The lower body of this white figure was connected to the spherical mirror. Mirror spirit Keshim spoke, staring at Qin Feng with a pair of pure white eyes, and a sharp voice of a young man came out. Human from Blue Star, you are not a player of this country. You don't even belong to the same race as them. I have no grudges against you. Why are you killing me? You want me to let you go? Reason. Qin Feng smiled and played with the two daggers in his hand. I can give you... The mirror spirit, Keshim with pure white eyes, suddenly grinned, revealing a weird smile. Go to hell. Accompanied by the sharp explosion of the boss, Qin Feng instantly felt that his feet were bound. He looked down and saw dozens of shadow arms coming out from the ground, grabbing his legs tightly, making him unable to move. Shadow of Keshim, thousand-handed mystery. Banatatsu. Rank, legendary. HP, 600 million. Qin Feng knew that this was the first shadow group summoned by Mirror Spirit Keshim. At this moment, the Mirror Spirit itself was invincible. If Qin Feng wanted to attack this boss, he had to kill all the shadows it summoned one by one. And this thousand-handed mystery was the first one. When Qin Feng's legs were bound, the ground under his feet cracked like a spider web, making him unstable, and the gravity of the entire space disappeared. Originally under the ground, a mysterious black sphere appeared under Qin Feng's feet. Hundreds of black shadow arms stretched out from the black sphere, just like the arms of the Rubberman. Grabbing Qin Feng one after another, Qin Feng, who was entangled, began to accumulate the nightmare and corruption gauges above his head. Qin Feng directly adjusted the upper resistance to these two resistances to resist the erosion of the two upper affixes. Die. At the same time, Qin Feng raised his hand and released the Shadow of Sorrow. 5 black shadows flew out from his side, and the black wings behind them spread out, directly releasing the Thousand Blades breaking attack towards the Shadow of Keshim, Thousand Hands Mystery. And the Thousand Hands Mystery did not dodge. Just like that. It took the Thousand Blades breaking attacks of the 5 shadows. Adapt, adapt, adapt. As the knife lights bloomed on the black sphere, the damage caused by Qin Feng to it halved each time. In the end, Qin Feng's damage to the shadow stabilized at 1/32 of the basic value, which means that the damage was reduced by 32 times. This is the limit of the opponent's adaptability. Not only will the damage be reduced by 32 times, but even the superposition of the upper affixes will be reduced by 32 times. This is why Qin Feng needs to use the equipment and skills of increasing the damage to summons. The legendary equipment Death of Servant increases the damage to summons by 555%. The skill End of Illusion increases the damage to summons by 400%, add up to 95%. Then the legendary equipment Death of Servant also comes with an independent multiplication area that doubles the damage to summons. The final calculation is 100% plus 955% x2 at 2110%. The total damage is 21, 1 times the basic value. Of course. At this stage, Qin Feng must activate the consumption of divinity to offset the opponent's order effect. This Shadow of Keshim has an order effect, so that the summons created by itself are not considered summons, but when Qin Feng consumes 3 points of divinity per second, this order effect is completely ineffective in front of Qin Feng, consuming 30 years of life per second. This price is a bit high. Fortunately, as long as I offset this order, I burst out 21. 1 times the total damage. Even if the opponent is fully adapted to my attack, my damage level is enough to kill these shadows directly. Qin Feng's Thousand Blades Breaking Strike. After the opponent fully adapted, only caused about 2 million direct damage. He and the 5 shadow clones add up to 55 million, and this is just direct damage. Below the health bar of the Thousand Hands Mystery, there is also a throat-cutting status pattern, which means that it will receive 330 million damage per second in the future, which lasts for 3 seconds. Instant destruction. Han Feng intends to use the instant destruction burst, which can almost kill this thing directly. But just before Qin Feng made his move, the Keishim Mirror Spirit showed a strange smile. The Keishim Mirror Spirit casually raised his hand. Then a human figure broke away from the black ball of the Thousand Hands Mystery. The throat cut state that was originally on the Thousand Hands Mystery was directly transferred to the figure that broke away. The HP of the figure that broke away was only a few 100,000. He just broke away from the Thousand Hands Mystery and died suddenly because of the damage of the throat cut. Fuck, so outrageous. Qin Feng was shocked. He had never heard of this method in his previous life. Sure enough, in the previous life, the Master Tukar of the Indian Kingdom led the team to kill this legendary boss, but only some general situations were made public. The specific details of the boss battle were not made public at all. Now it seems, the Shadow of the Thousand Hands Mystery is a collection of countless shadows. When necessary, it can abandon an individual, and even let the individual take away the negative status on the body. Qin Feng didn't have time to release instant annihilation, and the follow-up damage of the opponent's throat cutting had been dealt with, unable to settle the continuous damage of throat cutting. Han Feng could not kill the Thousand Hands Mystery in 1 second. Now in this space, there is still an adaptation effect. Now, I reduced the damage of the shadow summoned by this boss to 1/32. If you stop attacking, it will be reset after 60 seconds. If you keep attacking, then this adaptation effect will always exist. And this is an effect that exists in this mirror spirit space. Qin Feng's inviolability cannot eliminate its influence. His Shadow Blade can't steal this gain. Just then, the Shadow of Keishim Thousand Hands Mystery started a counterattack. The arms that stretched out released various elemental skills, sweeping towards Qin Feng from all directions. Qin keenly discovered, among these skills, many were from the more than 20 players of the Chalupa family. Hundreds and thousands of skills came towards Qin Feng. Big Mouth. Qin Feng directly released the Bloodline skill, and a bloody giant mouth appeared in front of him, swallowing all the projectiles in front of him, and failed to cause any damage to him. As for the damage from behind him, all of them were invalidated by the order effect of the Despicable Terminator. This scene made the Noxian Mirror Spirit slightly stunned. Before it could react, Qin Feng moved, Shadow Folding, Shadow Blade. Han Feng directly released the Shadow Folding, and during the shuttle, he and the 5 shadow clones released shoot out shadow blades one after another. Just now I was entangled by these shadow arms, but Shadow Warp can directly break free from their restraints. This time, I can benefit from the speed increase of the Deathwing Angel bloodline. The black sphere of the Thousand Hands Mystery in front of him did not move, and Qin Feng's speed reached 20,000 meters per second at this moment. In the Temple of Death, it only took Bro 1 seconds to travel 150 meters. Now it takes Oral 15 seconds to travel 300 meters. The travel distance has doubled, which originally took twice the time. But Qin Feng's agility and agility effect have also improved. So in terms of conversion, Qin Feng's burst speed reached 20,000 meters per second. And in this extremely short period of time, Qin Feng and the 5 shadow clones each threw out a shadow blade. A total of 6 shadow blades, each of which obtained the highest 10-fold damage increase based on the speed difference between the two sides. It's a pity that in such a short time, I can only launch attacks like Shadow Blade. And I can't even do Thousand Blade Break, because Thousand Blade Break is a melee skill. Using melee during the shuttle process, it is impossible to hit the target. And the previous method of slow shuttle can't be used, because if the shuttle becomes slow, then Qin Feng's speed of throwing Shadow Blade will also become slow, so it is impossible to take advantage of this aspect. Of course, these effects are not big, because Qin Feng's damage is already super model, and he has specially changed the equipment and skills that increase the damage to summons. So, if one skill can't kill, can another skill be used? At the extreme speed, a Shadow Blade directly burst out 714 million damage. 6 Shadow Blades have more than 250 million damage. Looking back, instant Shadow Slash, Qin Feng and his 5 shadow clones instantly passed through the black sphere. Finally, Crimson Blade. Instant annihilation. 2 consecutive finishing moves burst out, directly deducting the health bar of the Thousand Hands Mystery piece by piece. In the face of absolute speed and damage, Keishim Mirror Spirit sadly discovered that his little tricks seemed to be useless at all. Its first shadow was killed directly, then the second shadow. It was a shadow collection like a small mountain. It just appeared and pressed down on Qin Feng like Mount Tai. Qin Feng didn't have any preparation time. Qin Feng just killed the Thousand Hands Mystery in seconds. And this mountain of death prison came again, with the 2 superordinate affixes of Nightmare and Corruption. Shadow of Keishim Mountain of Death Prison got closer and closer, and even stretched out 2 huge arms to completely surround Qin Feng, and then hugged him heavily. Boom! Qin Feng was trapped by the huge shadow collection. The Nightmare and Corruption gauges above his head continued to grow, but unfortunately, Under the effects of Qin Feng's Source of Superiority and Blessing of the Thunder Fairy skills, Qin Feng's tolerance to superiority affixes is comparable to some epic bosses. The superposition of these superiority affixes does not threaten Qin Feng at all. For ordinary players who are hugged by Mountain of Death Prison, the crazy increase in superiority affixes can directly make the players fall into nightmares. And Qin Feng die. Qin Feng held the Blade of Judgment and the Blade of Killing Star, and burst out with a series of skill. In the blooming of the knife light, the black six wings behind him flew up, and cut a gap in the mountain-like Mountain of Death Prison, and flew out. With supersonic flight, Qin Feng circled around Shadow of Kesha Mountain of Death Prison with 5 shadow clones. The offensive broke out at the same time. Thousand Blades break. Scarlet Blade. Although after each attack, the opponent would abandon a part of the shadow aggregate and take away the throat-cutting damage. But Qin Feng's damage was too high. Even without the instant burst damage, this thing was completely killed by Qin Feng in a few seconds. Finally, it was the boss body. After both shadow aggregates were killed, the Kesha Mirror Spirit wanted to kneel down and beg for mercy. However, this Mirror Spirit body did not have the ability of the shadow to cut off the tail to survive. It could not separate the throat-cutting damage by letting the shadow leave the aggregate. Brother, spare my life. Shock and fear appeared in the dark, white pupils of the Kesha Mirror Spirit. Its upper body, which grew on the spherical mirror, was about to bend down and bow. But Qin Feng and his shadow clone had instantly passed through its body. Thousand Blades breaking. Instant. Destroy. The throat-cutting damage from the Gift of Liberation finally broke out in this Mirror Spirit space. 306 billion weakness attack. Player Shadow Daxia killed the legendary boss Kesha Magic Mirror and gained 200 reputation points.